What is up, Packers Nation? Welcome into our live post-practice, live practice report, Q&A, whatever we want to call it. Today, we are presented by Luiges Pizza. Today is one of those days where I feel like everyone in the Packers organization, Packers fans, everyone just needs a Luiges Pizza. Just a lot going on today. Go to luigespizza.com to check it out. Today, I'm going fresh dough. No question about it. I need something a little bit more substantial after what was a pretty wild day at 1265. Let's get into it right away. Jordan Love. If you would have said that today we'd be waking up to Jordan Love surgery, torn ligament, that's about as disastrous as a group of words as you could possibly get in the same sentence. And we woke up to that today. Jordan Love, surgery, torn ligament. If you would have said Jordan Love, surgery, torn ligament in his thumb, we got a 50-50 chance at this being a massive issue or a very frustrating issue, but one that's workable. And my God, thank goodness, of all the torn ligament surgeries, and even of all the ones that could happen on a thumb, we got the left thumb. That is very good news, all things considered. Not great news is that Jordan Love is having surgery, or did have surgery today, on his left thumb for a torn ligament. It does sound like this is a relatively clean healing process where the recovery is really fast and it's not going to affect him in any major way. Sounds like he should be able to go out there and practice potentially as soon as next week. Matt LaFleur did say it was extremely unlikely that he would practice, or I should say play in the final preseason game. He was not going to play in this next one anyway. He will miss all of practice this week. And it goes without saying, this is not what you want to hear, period. End of story. You do not want Jordan missing any time whatsoever. It felt like some of the practice time that Jordan missed last year definitely affected the team, the wide receivers, the rhythm, the timing. So as you get ready for two massive games against both Detroit and Washington in the first, 5 days of the regular season, at least where Green Bay is concerned, not ideal. Not ideal at all. All things considered, and with the injury and with the surgery, they got a little bit lucky that it was his left thumb and not anything, and not really any other body part at this point in time. So disappointing. I think the thing that we're going to have to keep a pretty close eye on when he gets back is just his under center work. Is he still able to, because if you're taking the ball, I'm trying to get up here, and this left thumb, I guess, I don't know how Jordan does it. For me, the natural is left hand on top. I've never coached a quarterback on how to do it. So I'm assuming Jordan is left hand on top. You want that right hand to come back. That thumb is right here. That definitely is one where you're getting the ball right back under center, and that thumb needs to be able to bend and get hit and things like that. If that affects him, then that's a real question mark, because you potentially have to change the offense to take some of the under center stuff and turn it into something different. That means a lot more shotgun potentially. That means a lot more pistol formation potentially, but it could mean that under center is more of an issue, that they might not be able to do it. Now, the good news here is that even yesterday, with the thumb injured, he did work under center. There were some weird handoffs with his right hand instead of his left, but he did work under center. I remember one play in particular, they had a 3 tight end set. It was under center play action, and we did see him there. So even when it was banged up and not even beginning to heal yet, he was still able to maneuver it and figure out a way to do that. Again, it mostly feels like this was a situation where they felt it was better to get this done now rather than having that sort of linger throughout the season. Probably the right call, but it's definitely going to affect Green Bay over the course of the next week. Hopefully that's it. If this is all that is, by the way, where let's put it this way. I want to double check that I am saying the right thing here before I get too far ahead of myself. All right, so he missed practice today. I'm in the wrong calendar. Give me 1 second. All right, here we go. So he missed practice today. He will miss the joint practice on Thursday. I think they have kind of more of like a walkthrough practice on Friday. That's not a big deal. He was not going to play in the preseason game anyway on Saturday. No practice on Sunday. And then maybe Monday they have that sort of open, sort of training camp again, or I should say open to the media training camp, or practice that's not open to the media, would potentially miss that. But if he's back by next Tuesday, he may not miss a whole heck of a lot of time overall. Even next Thursday, in that joint practice. Like if he can go in that one, I don't know, maybe they want to be extra cautious with that. But if we're talking about a week here, especially in a preseason week where he wasn't going to play anyway, it's not the biggest issue in the world. But if it lingers longer than that, then it does become definitely more of a talking point. So the two things that I would be, just like not concerned about per se, but keeping an eye on. When does he get back? How much time in general does he miss? If it's 2 or 3 practices, much ado about nothing. It really is not going to have any effect in the entire scheme of things. And then the second thing would be, does it affect his under center when he gets back? And if it does, then you have to change some things. If it doesn't, then we're probably fine. And this is probably just a big talking point on August 12th that doesn't amount to a whole heck of a lot when the Packers take on the Lions, which is hopefully, fingers crossed, exactly what ends up happening here. Then at practice, you had a variety of different injuries take place as well, and the receiver core continues to get decimated. Now, I want to be very crystal clear here. We don't have the severity or known issue with any of these injuries, okay? First of all, Israel Abanikanda was a new add to the injury list today. They did sign Tyron Davis, to actually is that the name? It's Tyron. Hold on. Sorry, I should have wrote this down. It is. I don't think they have it on the roster yet, but I'll get that before the end of the show here. Somebody maybe can put it in chat for me. Just making sure I have the right name. But the new running back, number 44. Anyone got it for me yet? But they did bring a new running back in. But as far as injuries go, Abanikanda is the new one. And then Romeo Doubs, he was going for a ball deep down the right sideline. It was a really nice ball by Malik Willis. And I thought Doubs got his head turned a little bit late, struggled to locate it, and then unfortunately did not come up with the catch. As he was kind of coming down to the ground, he went to the ground. There was no like bad hit or anything like that from a defender that would have been like, oh my God, what are we doing here? Just a bad landing from Romeo. It looked like he was holding the lower back. And when he got up, again, don't want to speculate here into anything, but he ended up being down for a while, got up on his own accord, then went to the side, and then eventually walked to the Don Hudson Center with a trainer and did not reemerge throughout the entirety of practice. So not a great sign there for Romeo Doubs. Hopefully he's fine, but that was not what you want to see from him. Savion Williams, at one point, had the little massage gun on his leg. And I was watching, I'm like, oh, that seems kind of odd that he's got the massage gun on his leg. And I'm like, it was probably a third of the way through practice, was really keeping an eye on if he would return or not. And he never did. He never returned to practice. He stayed along the sidelines for the rest of practice. Again, could be nothing, could be something, but something to keep an eye on nonetheless. Then right towards the end of practice, there was a massive humanity inside. I did tweet out that I thought there was a collision between LVN and Luke Musgrave. I don't know if those two actually collided. It was just a run play. There was a sea of humanity on the inside, but both LVN and Luke Musgrave stayed down for a little bit. And then Musgrave eventually kind of limped off a little bit, looked more of like an ankle injury. He went off with the trainer. LVN went off to the other side. And then practice basically ended a play later. So we didn't get to see if either of those guys would have returned either. So Jordan Love had surgery. Romeo Doubs went out with a back injury into the Hudson Center, never returned. Savion Williams was having the massage gun on his leg and did not return to practice. And then there was 2 players, Musgrave and LVN. It looked like Musgrave was the worst of the two, just on first glance. But those two go down at the end of practice as well. And again, we don't know the status of those. That was pretty much does it for the bad news for the day. And that's a decent amount of bad news. I want to reiterate one more time, with Doubs, with Savion, with Musgrave, with LVN, we have no idea if there's any sort of long-term implications or if this is just like, yeah, they got a little bit banged up and they're going to be totally fine. Could be anything or in between. We don't know. And we're just going to have to kind of take a wait and see approach on all of those. The good news is that Jordan Love does sound like it's going to be very, very short term and should be back next week or very soon thereafter. As seemingly what they've kind of defined it as is like a worst case scenario. That does it for injuries. I do want to talk about a couple big plays throughout the course of the day and a couple players that stood out. Thought Edgerrin Cooper was phenomenal. He had a ball that he batted up on the opening drive by Malik Willis. Malik Willis was trying to go over the middle. Cooper tips it up, picks it off, returns it for a touchdown. Big time play for Cooper. He shot through a couple times for tackles for loss and would be sacks on the day. Like, just seemed completely unblockable. Got to the outside and stopped a running play. Just was absolutely all over the place. There it is. Tyrion Davis Price, tall guy MB. Thank you so much for coming through for me on that one. Appreciate that. I was combining two players in my head, and I knew I had it wrong once I said it. So appreciate you correcting me on that one, tall guy MB. But yeah, there was the beautiful plays by Edgerrin Cooper, just sideline to sideline, just all over the place all day long. Yeah, I think he had another screen that he was on top of as well. Just a very Edgerrin Cooper-esque day from him. Matthew Golden did have a drop. He did, in fact, have a drop. It was low, and it was kind of awkward. It was definitely one where even if he catches it, it's a pretty short gain. And it was definitely, I would say, probably like knees, maybe a little bit lower, but probably around his knees. He would definitely tell you he should have had it. And anything around him, you're always just shocked that he doesn't come up with it. This is like, I think really the first drop. He had one that went off of his hands on a play where some people put it on Golden, some people put it on Love. It was a high throw for sure. I think Golden probably should have had it, but it tipped off of his hands and I think was intercepted. Outside of that play, this would be his first real, kind of drop. And again, this one was low as well. But he did have a drop, but he also had a play over the middle of the field where it was Malik Willis and he whistled one in. And I mean, absolutely, it was a missile. And Tyron Hopper dove to make the play. There's kind of a mess of humanity in there too, where like safeties are coming from behind. There's corners in there. Hopper's like diving in there. And who else but Matthew Golden just plucks it out of the air and turns and goes from there. Like, just another big time play from Matthew Golden. And then there is one play. Yeah, I mean, drill, I'm not really concerned about from a drill work. I'm talking about teamwork. Wisco Sports, who said he dropped the ball in drills a few weeks ago as well. But we're talking actual team stuff here. But the player that generated by far and away the most buzz along the sideline and with the media today was Marshawn Lloyd. Guys, I think Wes Hodkiewicz tweeted it out, and I think he had a little Vince Young quip in there, but like nobody that he's ever been so excited to watch in preseason as, Marshawn Lloyd coming up in the upcoming preseason games. I think Spoff tweeted out something like he's just different. He is such a fun player. I can't even begin to describe it. Like he just looks so explosive at all points in time. There's never a play where I'm like, oh, he just kind of looked ho-hum. Like he touches the ball and good things happen almost every single time. It's really remarkable. It's how he runs. It's inside, it's outside, it's his cutbacks, it's his jukes. If this guy can just finally stay healthy, I mean, it was everyone to a T. I mean, people who don't even usually get like super excited about, players having big day or anything like that or generating some buzz. There were so many people that were talking about Marshawn Lloyd. And here's the crazy thing. He didn't even have like a 1A, oh my God, sort of play. He had two plays where he cut back against the grain. One play in particular where it goes inside and that thing's not going anywhere. And he cuts it outside and got probably about 20 yards on a play that probably should have went -1. I mean, just a really fun play there. Had another play inside where he just gets through contact and another play to the outside where he got a really good gain on it. It wasn't even anything where like he juked out 8 people and ran for an 80-yard touchdown or anything like that. It was just every time he touched the ball, he looks so damn dangerous in a really impressive way. And again, if he can just stay healthy, I don't know, as much buzz as like Matthew Golden has generated, like just this little practice today was almost like even more buzz for Marshawn Lloyd. It is a really unique thing to watch him play and just kind of experience everyone along the sidelines of going along for the ride with Marshawn Lloyd. It's just different. It's just absolutely different. And it's by far and away a big time, massive difference between Emmanuel Wilson, Chris Brooks. And I like those guys. I like those guys a lot. It is like 10 steps beyond that. And as far as Josh Jacobs goes, I'm not saying that he's better than Josh Jacobs. That would be a pretty ridiculous statement, right? But the difference in dynamics between the two and the change of pace between the two has the ability to be something that works beautifully. Where it's not a true like thunder and lightning because Jacobs can do everything And I think Lloyd can run inside and outside too. But there is a total difference in pacing and in speed, and even just kind of in some of the playmaking stuff. They're just two totally different styles. And sometimes that is the perfect way to build your 1-2 punch at running back when you have two players that just when you think you're getting the beat on one, they come in with the other one and it's a totally different style and a totally different way. I'm so hoping of all the bad news that, and we don't even know if any of it's super bad news on the injury front, but all the injuries that we saw kind of add up throughout the course of today, if getting Marshawn Lloyd back and now just for good, like, can we just keep that guy healthy moving forward and be done with injuries for him? If that could be the case, I just think that he can really add a different dynamic and explosive ability into this offense that is really, really, really freaking fun. I thought Luke Musgrave, prior to going down with injury, had a couple big plays, including a touchdown from Malik Willis. I know there was that opening interception on a tip pass by Edgerrin Cooper. That's a hat tip to Edgerrin Cooper. Great play. Maybe he should have seen the window a little bit better and maybe tried to avoid that. But Cooper skied for that thing, tipped it up, picked it off, turned it for a touchdown. But outside of that, I thought Malik Willis really stepped up on the day. I would argue probably his best day of training camp so far. I thought he operated the offense very efficiently, found plays down the field. Luke Musgrave, Matthew Golden, utilized his arm when he needed to, utilized his legs when he needed to. This was much more the Malik Willis that we kind of saw when given the opportunity to play with the ones last year, even in very limited time within the offense. And it wasn't even necessarily like baked in to be his style of offense. It wasn't just like a bunch of spinner series and read option or whatever you want to say. It was not that. It was him running the offense effectively. And it was pretty to watch. I thought he had a great day. And one of those days where you're just like, all right, Green Bay's got a good backup quarterback here that can step up. And it also just kind of reminds you as well that it's really difficult sometimes to tell with some of these players. When you're a backup like Malik Willis and you have all backups surrounding you, backup offensive linemen, number 5 and 6 wide receivers, backup running backs, sometimes it's really difficult to kind of be able to run the offense effectively because of your supporting cast, not necessarily anything to do with you. And Malik Willis is, I think I feel fair in saying this, he's very, very, very likely never going to be the quarterback that on his own accord can just carry you to victories, right? But he is one of those quarterbacks where if you put him in the right situations, in the right circumstances, he can help you win games. And I thought today he had that type of performance where he's not elevating the level of everyone else on the field, but you elevate the level of play around him and he's going to rise to that occasion. And that's kind of what we saw today. I thought he had a really nice day. Again, Matthew Golden, a couple of really nice catches. Again, did have that drop as well. Musgrave had the nice day. Tyron Hopper, again, really showing up. He's making a name for himself at that linebacker position. I wish we'd get to see him a little bit more. He has not made any progress, it would seem, on Isaiah Simmons nor on Isaiah McDuffie for that number 3 linebacker battle. But everything he's doing right now looks really, really good. Had a really nice preseason, as Justice and I talked about on today's show as well. Defensive line, I didn't think anything really stood out in that regard. I'm wondering with Bo Melton if we're going to have to see him switch back to wide receiver a little bit if some of these injuries are piling up to some great extent. Hopefully that's not the case, but that'll be an interesting thing to kind of keep an eye on too if they have to switch him back for the Colts practice because they're so short on wide receivers. Hopefully Dobbs and Savion and those guys are just good to go and it's much ado about nothing. But again, worth very much monitoring at this point in time. Don't think there was anything from the safeties. Brandon McManus went 6 for 6 again. And yeah, I think those were kind of the big takeaways. Rashawn Gary had a beautiful pressure up front. He was going against Anthony Belton and Tyler Cooper on the play. It was a double team, 2 against 1, and Gary just split them like neither guy was there. And it was just like a hot knife through butter. He just went right through for a would-be sack on that play. A lot of double A-gap and A-gap blitzes on the day. And Edgerrin Cooper and Isaiah Simmons just absolutely ate. And Isaiah Simmons on the final play of the day came through, would have been a sack. They let the play go anyway. And Malik Willis just hurled it up in the back of the end zone. And Evan Williams eventually picked that one off. So good day for I thought good plays on offense, defense. Isaiah Nair made a big time play laying out for a pass from Taylor Algersma. So there's just like your beautiful, we're in day 14, 13 of training camp, and it's Taylor Algersma to Isaiah Nair. And Nair made one of the best catches of camp, quite frankly, completely laying out in the end zone to go get a ball, caught it, came up with it. Touchdown. It was a beautiful play for, Alguerzma maybe led him slightly too far, but Nair went and got it. It was a really sweet play from him. It's a fun day. A lot of big plays, a lot of action, a lot of updates, too many injuries. And that was a practice that they cut short, I think, in large part due to all the players that were kind of getting banged up. You already had Jordan Love prior to practice, and then, 4 more guys that are getting, nicks and whatever throughout the course of practice. Probably the right call from Matt just to kind of end that a little bit early. All right. I think those are the main things that I kind of wanted to go over today. With that, I will get to as many questions as I can. Should have about 10 minutes or so here to get through these. Shepard's making some plays in practice. Would you like to see him on the practice, or would like to see him on the practice squad if at all possible? He had a nice day today. He had multiple receptions. And yeah, I'm intrigued if he can kind of keep that going. I don't think that this is something where, well, right now he might be able to get his name in the receiver conversation just because there's no receivers left, but I don't think he can legitimately get himself in the 53 convo, but I do think that there's a good chance that he can make a name for himself from a practice squad standpoint. I tried watching it back today to see if I could glean more on how Melton did at corner. Didn't see any real big plays either way, which is better than allowing big plays. What did you see? I actually need to apologize. I very much thought by now I would have my full grades done, video out, up on packerreport.com as well for preseason week 1. I forgot a couple things. One, how long that process takes. And number 2, how long it takes at the beginning when you're just a little bit more rusty. By the time I get to like week 5, week 6, I'm going through that stuff with a little bit more pace. But when you haven't done it in a few months, it takes a little bit more to kind of get used to again. I did do it, I guess, with Josh Jacobs and the free agents and Aaron Banks and whatnot, but it's not quite the same as you're watching every player on every play. So just kind of getting back in the swing of things. I do have the offense entirely done. I do have the defense about a quarter of the way done. As soon as we're done here, I should have some time. I'm hoping to get that up by later today, but I will get that to you either later today or, tomorrow at the extreme latest. So that'll be coming soon, but I have not had the opportunity to watch the full defense yet, but I will report back on Bo Melton at that point in time. At first glance, thought he came up and played it well. It gave up 2 completions on the day. I know he missed 1 tackle, but for a first day as a true corner playing in games, I thought overall I was encouraged by what I saw on the field. Brandon can't wait for Jordan to take 3 weeks of the regular season to get rolling now that he's going to miss practice for weeks. That's just negative for the sake of being negative, Brandon. Come on, man. I'm really thinking Golden is going to be a very important piece to our offense this year. This guy's might have the best hands and he's just a rookie. Crazy, super hype for him. He's really freaking good. Really freaking good. And you're going to really enjoy watching him play more and more and more. He's everything that you wanted him to be. And again, he's only going to get better as time goes on. He's going to have a major role within this offense. Why is everyone getting hurt? Is it the training? No, it's just football, guys. It's just football. We're going to do this every single year from now until the end of time. There's going to be guys that are hurt. There's guys that are hurt at every single training camp. It's a bit of a bummer right now, but again, we don't have anyone that we know of that's long-term injuries other than Christian Watson, who, by the way, we got a huge update from on Brian Gutekunst today that after that 4 weeks of PUP, it sounds like he is going to start on PUP, but after that 4 weeks, he basically said it might take an army to, I'm paraphrasing here, but might take an army to hold back Christian Watson from playing after that, and that he's well ahead of schedule. So that's good news. And then John Williams, it sounds like, is going to still be a while. But outside of that, we do not have any knowledge of any long-term injuries at this point, and hopefully that remains the case. I really like Brenton Cox, but he doesn't play teams. Do you think he can make it without playing teams? Does he bring enough pass rush juice to overcome? He's made it the last couple of years without playing teams, and I think he's better now than he was at any point in the last couple of years. And I think the depth chart is thinner at defensive end than it has been, specifically last year when they kept 6 guys. So I absolutely think that he can still make the team. I think he has a role, and if I were putting the 53 together today, I would certainly still have him on that 53. The training camp was a great opportunity for Willis to give himself a starting job for a new team next year, and unfortunately, he's not done great so far. Hopefully that changes. Still has time. Yeah, it hasn't been up to that level yet. I don't think there's any question about that. I did think he had a really good day today. I think these next 2 preseason games are going to be massive for Malik, especially as he gets really the start in both of them. And my guess would play about a half of both of these games. It'll be his opportunity to put his best foot forward, and hopefully he can go out and have 2 really impressive performances. If Golden keeps it up, maybe that will keep the rest step up, make the rest step up so that they don't look so bad. We're just looking for consistency from everyone. And I do think that there should be a lot of competition in that wide receiver room. Hasn't come to fruition because of all the injuries so far. Andy, haven't heard much on Tyron Hopper. How is he looking in camp? He's looked really good. We talked about it today, Justice and I. that he's had a really nice preseason game, really nice camp, and I thought he followed that up today as well. Love will probably start week 1, hopefully, but he will be rusty. Dang, not what we need. I don't think we can go that far yet. Because again, if you just remember, again, I want to pull my calendar up here, right? Let's say, so today's the 12th. Let's say he gets back by next Wednesday, right? That's the 21st. The first game is on the 7th. So that gives him 2.5 weeks to prepare for that Lions game. If it's not like he's going to forget everything in a week being off. And again, there was a couple rest days in there automatically with a travel day tomorrow, with the preseason game that he wasn't going to play with, the day off after the preseason game. So even a week of missed practices is not like 7 days of missed practices. He might miss like 4. And again, might be back next week, ready to go. If that's the case, and he still has 2.5 weeks before Detroit, he's going to be more than fine, guys. Again, if it gets worse than that, we can discuss that. But at this point, it does not look like that's going to be the case, and that there's real hope he might be back by next week. Let's see. Is Jordan Love injury prone? No, I don't think anyone's injury prone. No handing off to the left side. No. Again, he even showed yesterday he can hand off with his right hand. No concern there. Do you think this will be the most talented team we'll have over the next couple of years due to contracts and re-signings? I don't necessarily think that has to be the case. I think they can still draft really well, which they have a propensity to do. I think they can find steals in the late rounds. And I think a lot of their talented players are still young and ascending players. So I think it can get better, but they definitely have, I think, some really talented players in depth right now, and hopefully they can come together and play some really great football this year. And doesn't necessarily mean that they have to lose all those guys either. I think some of those guys will indefinitely or definitely be back at some point in time. The thing that bummed me out about the drops with the first team on Saturday was that we didn't really get that long of a look at Golden in game action. I think that some of the ones will be with Willis on the first drive this game. I know that they did not plan to play the ones. I could see still Golden maybe getting a little bit of time in this game, but I don't think we're going to see a ton from the ones in this game. I think the ones will primarily be against Seattle in practice this week. Cora, saw you on the sidelines in your bright pink hat. That was me. Must have missed you on the corner, but Matthew, Golden, and Savion walked right next to me, and I wouldn't have been there if I wasn't waiting for you. If I wasn't waiting for you. Well, I'm happy that you were able to find those guys. Probably a much better result in the long run anyway. So happy that you were able to find those two at minimum. Seems like more and more people are dropping from injury. Is this normal? Yes. Unsure what this will do for the rest of the season. Nothing yet. Again, everyone is still on track as far as we know to play week 1. And that's really what's most important at this point in time. These wide receiver injuries really illustrate the value of Melton. If the corners are healthy, he can play wide receiver. Again, the more you can do, the more depth you can have, certainly the better. Injury bug is not fun at the moment. That is for sure. The Love injury really doesn't concern me. It's the sheer amount of injuries happening, especially to the wide receiver room, that is worrying me. Totally fair, Beast Bumblebee. And again, let's just see. Dobbs and Williams might be back this week. Hopefully Wicks is back sooner rather than later. Watson's recovering well. The no need to panic yet, but all eyes on some of the injuries for sure. Player's best ability is availability. Do the scouts look for a measure, if that is even possible, of injury proneness? Feels like Green Bay could do better rather than getting freak athletes that crumble. Yeah, I just am not a believer in this at all. And guys, go look at every single team right now, all 32. This is the most normal thing in the world. It's probably a little bit more on the injured side, and certainly with some key players. You don't want to see Jordan Love, Evan Williams, Jaden Reed, Nate Hobbs, etc., all missing a single practice. But this is very, very normal this time of year to have these type of injuries, and I cannot emphasize enough. Again, as far as we know, not long-term injuries, knock on wood. With all the injuries, lots of motivation for bubble players to put some great tape out there. Should be a much improved performance all around this week. Totally agree, John. No need to change the strength and conditioning group, guys. Guys, it's just football. Just football. Number of NFL pundits had Lloyd as the favorite running back in last year's class. Indeed, including Daniel Jeremiah. Getting a healthy Musgrave and Lloyd back could push the offense to another level. Fingers crossed. A lot needs to go into that, but Lloyd looks really, really good when he's out there. No question. Malik had to play in a game this year. Do you think we could maintain our regular offense, or will we need to bring back the spinner stuff? I think the spinner stuff's going to be in the offense no matter what, but there would be it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be verbatim, but there would be an offense that would be baked for Malik Willis for sure. It just wouldn't be the normal everyday offense. They would build a game plan for him just like they would for anyone else. But they would definitely have a game plan in place. And that's just smart. Like, do what he does well. Build an offense to Malik Willis's strengths, which are a little bit different than Jordan Love's strengths. So right now you have an offense that is primarily built for Jordan Love. And when you get a different guy in there, you want to build an offense that's particular to them. I thought they did an unbelievable job with it last year, and I think they would continue to do so if that ended up being the case. Hopefully, we don't have to see that this year. Who has the better chance to make the team, Melton or Brooks? Both. I think both are making it. I would say Brooks slightly, but I think both are making it. How do you eat that many Luigi's pizzas and remain under 400 pounds? First of all, they're not, especially the ultra thin crust ones, which are seriously, guys, so freaking unbelievable. Not that high in calories, especially like just the cheese pizza one, which is some of my favorites. They got veggie ones as well. But do try to get lots of steps in, and I do try to watch my calories overall, so that like my face here doesn't take up like this much of the screen instead of this much of the screen. We'll never understand why Packers fans love to hate on their team so much, especially the quarterback and head coach. I get the passion. I love the passion. I just think that channeling it into wanting everyone fired or everyone sucks is a weird way to cope with it sometimes. But hey, to each their own. Everyone can fan in their own way. Have you seen the ESPN interview where Goody talks about his time as a Southeast scout and how he should have pounded the table harder for Frank Gore? I did not see that. I'll have to see if I can find that. Trying to get plugged back in, hearing Wooden bulked up. Do we know how big he is now? If I remember right, he used to be almost a tween around 280. Excited to see if he can carve out a role. I would guess he's probably around like 300 would be my guess, but I don't know for sure, and they haven't updated his weight on the Packers roster. Love is hurt. He's got a torn ligament, or at least torn ligament in his left thumb. He did surgery today, is going to be out for about a week, and could be back at practice as soon as next week. Probably not much long after that, even if it's not early next week. So we'll keep an eye on it, but mostly crisis avoided despite having a ligament torn that needs surgery. How about like Morgan still at left tackle for the preseason game? Yeah, I think we'll definitely see Morgan out there. Honestly thought that Goot was going to look to deal Willis on a high note last offseason, kind of like Aaron Brooks and Hasselbeck. I don't think he would have got anywhere near the return, to be honest. I don't think teams see Willis that way. I really don't. I think most view him as a backup. I know he had a good few games, and Matt LaFleur showed that they can win with him. I believe that the overarching thought is that was a testament to Matt Steno and the offensive staff more than it was a testament to Malik Willis. I'm not saying that mindset is right or wrong. I'm just saying I believe that that's the mindset around the league, is that credit how they were able to make it work with a little bit smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. I think certainly Malik still came out looking good from it, but not to the level that any team's ready to invest anything major in him at this point in time. Have we ever got a timetable on Wicks? We have not. Do you think Colby Wooden makes the 53? I do. All right, friends, I do appreciate all the questions. Oh, one more. Like LVN, for example, getting more snaps too. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he plays this week, but I do think he'll play a little bit in that third preseason game for sure. And I think he'll continue to get some snaps on defense and just kind of continue, as Goody talked about today, player that didn't have a ton of reps in college because of just where his snap count was at, came out early and then didn't get a lot his first 2 years. So the more reps that he can kind of get, the better for his long-term growth. My friends, I do appreciate you a ton. Go out, get yourself a Luigi's frozen pizza, luigispizza.com. Follow him on social media at Luigi's Pizza. You can find me at Andy Herman NFL. You can find the podcast at Pack a Day Podcast. Hopefully we'll be back later today with the grades episode. It'll probably be a shorter episode. And then I'll post the grades over on packreport.com when they're done as well. And then new episode tomorrow, breaking down everything that happened at camp today. And then, we'll kind of go from there, and should be a lot of fun. Really looking forward to it. And thank you guys all again for being here. See you guys soon. But until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.